Uh, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, July 13th, 1936. And my father, he played saxophone, violin, and a singer. And he wasn't very popular, uh, like all over the world, but he was just local. He was local. So therefore, when I was born, he wanted me to be known all over the world, see? And my mother, she was just a mother. She wasn't, artistically inclined. She was just a mother. And so when I was, wait now, 3 years old, when I was 3 years old, I used to listen to music played by Lionel Hampton, and they had a big radio, and I used to go back to see where the music was coming from, see? And when I would put my hand back there, I would get shocked. Yeah, I would get shocked, and my mother would hit my hand and say, "No, don't do that. Don't do that." But she didn't understand that I was an artist very young because of my father, see? So like at 4 years old, I started playing, I have a footstool, a small footstool I used to sit on when I was a little boy. Sit on. I started pick the footstool up and play along with Benny Goodman when he would be playing on the radio. I would play it. I would play the footstool, and then my father said, "It's talent. He has talent. He may be an artist, and I'll start him to playing music." So when I was 7 years old, I started out. He would teach. He started me into the music, and like when the guys would be out playing baseball and whatnot, he would be beating me with a strap. I was a little boy then, and I would cry. I had short pants, see, and the tears would roll down. I would be like this. Tears rolled down my leg. He beat me like that. I thought it was very bad, but I guess it was good to keep me away from playing and stay in and learn the music, because it was like he was rebelling. He wanted to be what I was, you know. You understand what I'm saying? He wanted to be what I was because he was just known locally, but not all over the world. So at the age of 10 years old, he taught me, say, 4 years. And when I was 8 years old, I played Ave Maria and when I was 8 years old, I was called a child prodigy at that time in Cleveland. I was called a child prodigy. And I played at a place where it was like a number of talented kids that were playing there, but I won the first prize. And at the age of 11 years old, I started Benny Miller's Academy. My father could teach me no more. I could read at the age of 9. I was reading music like that. I was ahead of what I was doing, at the age of 9. So at the age of 10 years old, I studied at the Benny Miller Academy. Benny Miller was a man who had played with Charlie Parker, Miles Davis at the club in Cleveland, Tijuana, and his people was very rich. So I studied at the academy there in music, and I studied there about, we'd say, 7 years. 7 years I studied there, and about that time, I started sitting in then, getting known locally with other musicians when I was 15 years old. And so 16, that's when I started. I met Little Walter and Lloyd Price. I played, just would sit in clubs. I didn't understand the situation of the music, where it would carry me at all. I couldn't understand exactly where the music would carry me. So I started sitting in, and by me going and sitting in, I started seeing a different kind of life. See, I wore short pants until 16 years old. Until 16 years old, the kids used to laugh at me because I had short pants. They'd say, "Oh, what's the matter? Why should he wear short pants? He should have long pants." See? So the kids would say, "Why? What is he?" But my mother was very particular. She wanted me to be special. I had to be special for my mother, you know. So I started traveling with little Walter at the age of 17. At the age of 17, you know, like I wasn't out of school yet. I was still in high school. So while playing with him, the going was tough for me. I couldn't understand what it was in the music, how it would be for me to travel on the road so abruptly, because we played Saginaw, Michigan one night, then we had to travel all night long. They would be drinking, sleep, driving. And then I say, music, is this music? Do I have to live like this? What is this? You know, but it was okay because it was a good experience. It was a good experience for me. I had to like carry my food in a bag because there wasn't much money at that time. You know, I was like very young. I was too young to be involved with that kind of life because I had never lived that kind of life, because my mother kept me special. All the time kept me special, see? So while traveling, playing with little Walter, I said, pa! He said, no, you don't hold a note long enough. Hold a note long enough, because see, the country soul and where I was from was a little difference. Because it was a middle class where I was from in Cleveland, see? It was middle class, but the country, they were living right with it, see? But I wasn't living right with it because I wasn't born in the country. You understand? So I say, these people are a little bit different than me, or something was wrong. So I started holding the note and getting it good, you know. And before I know, I just fit right in with him. So I played with him the whole summer. Then after that summer, that was it. And while in school, I played golf, and I was like the golf captain in school. You know, I was like the first black man in the school to ever win a trophy for the school. You know, in other words, I could have played golf and I could have been rich now, but music was in my heart. See, I had to do that. So after after playing with little Walter, and okay, I'm 19 now, yeah. Around that time, I had formed a little band myself in Cleveland, playing blues and rhythm. Formed a little band myself. I said, well, maybe I could do something with that, you know. And while I formed the band in Cleveland, I noticed the living was, it wasn't the kind of thing I had grew up in. I knew it was a little bit different because it was playing on the corner in winos and the whole thing. I said, well, maybe I could better my condition. So when I was 22, I joined the Army. You know, everybody said, you crazy, you get killed, you die. It doesn't matter. I joined the Army to be around people, you know, that play music and the music interest. So when I went into the Army, I had a tough CO. He was a tough guy, you know, he's very tough. He say, well, Albert, I don't know. At that time, my reading was slow. Because when you play in Cleveland, we play jam. We play as we feel. You don't read from paper, you know. So he said, well, okay, we'll keep you in the band. So I went to BTU training unit in the band, and then I started nothing. Reading is the easiest thing in the world after you familiarize yourself with it, you know. So I started reading, and everything was good. In the Army, I used to practice like we would play 6 hour Orleans, yeah. We'd play say like 6 hours. Then at the end of that, I would practice at night hard. I would play the scale not per note, but I would just get one sound, and I'd play diminished and all kind of different things on the instrument to familiarize myself, hoping to be a great artist one day. But I was nothing then at that specific time in Orleans, France. But being in France, I could go to Paris. I could play at the club in Paris, and it was much different. So when I went to Sweden, that's when I started to going outside. I was working in a different kind of thing altogether, and the people said beautiful. When I was in Sweden, the people said beautiful. Then I said, oh, this is beautiful. They said, this is what you feel is beautiful. This is what you feel is beautiful. So I say, well, I may have something. So by them telling me this, it made me think after I got out the Army to go back to those people to stay for a while because they were like, yeah, different, but they were like very beautiful musically to me because sometimes when I would play, the people say no good, I would cry because that's all I could feel. That's all I could feel is what I play. So after I got out, I left Orleans and I got out of the Army in California. That's what I was in California. I started playing and I met Red Fox. I don't know if you know Red Fox. Red Fox. Well, I was playing and he said, the guys, all the musicians, black, said, ah! And Red Fox said, look, if you believe it, play it. That's what Red Fox say, And that was like very beautiful. So after I got out of the Army, I went back to Cleveland. And while in Cleveland, I told my mother, I said, I'm going to Sweden to live. Finish here, finish. Mentality stupid, finish. I'm going to Sweden. She said, you crazy. You can't leave me. You can't leave me. You can't leave me. I say, well, I have to go where somebody can understand me where I was at because I didn't quite understand myself because the music hadn't quite formed in my head yet. I was playing it, but it was slow. It's not like it is now fast, It was slow. So I caught a plane going to Sweden. And when I got to Sweden, the Swedish people, it was kind of like that. So I had to play commercial music. I had to play with some guys from Ken Hunter was his name. I had to play commercial, calypso, and whatnot, but I hated to play that. I hated to play that. So every chance I would get, I would go to the old town in Sweden and play for the young people. Play for the young people, the very, very young people. And then after a while, I met a guy named Bit Nostrom. He said, Albert, I want you to make a record. I said, well, I didn't know if I should make a record then because I felt I wasn't developed like I wanted to be developed. You understand? Yeah, so he said, it's necessary you make a record. So I go into the studio and it was like 25 people there. And when I started playing, the people was seriously, they were all artists. They wasn't the people the ordinary people, So I made the record and he said, good. He said, good, this is good, it's a good record. I said, oh, it's okay. And so after the record was made, Denmark called me, wanted me to make a radio show, Ole Vestergaard. He said, you come here and we'll give you money to make a radio show. So I went to, after I made the record in Sweden, I went to Denmark and I played the radio show. When I played the radio show, he said, we must make a record. It's Bye Bye Blackbird, Summertime, yeah, CT, is all beautiful. All beautiful, So after I finished there, I was playing in a place in Sweden, close to Denmark. What's the name of this place? I can't remember. A place close to
Stockholm.
No, not Stockholm. It was close to Denmark. Not Malmö. It's close to Malmö. Anyway, it was like very cold. And I was playing with a guy named Candy Green. He's a guy from Texas, sing like Ray Charles. Yeah, we would play there. They would give us 2 meals a day, and we'd have to be there at noon to play, see? And then we'd play at night. So when I tell Candy Green I must go to play the radio, so radio tape in Denmark. So when I go play the radio tape, I played the radio tape. Then when I come back, I didn't speak to him. I couldn't speak to him. I had to go to America because I had played a little with Cecil Taylor. I like Cecil Taylor a lot, but he's just too hard. I like Smooth myself. I like my Smooth, but he's like a very great artist. I had played with him a while, so I left there going back to the States, and that's when I started playing with Cecil at the Take 3. We played, and Eric Dolphy and Coltrane used to come in here. Sonny Murray, Jimmy Lyons, Henry Grimes, and myself, and Cecil. We had it beautiful. And Eric would come in to listen with Coltrane after they finished at the Village Gate. Because they knew it was some new music that was happening that was like very strange. They couldn't understand it, but they could feel it. We would play, and Cecil we would make $5, and he would give it to us. He had nothing. He had nothing. He would give us a dollar for food the next day, so we would come back to play the next day with him because he loved music more than maybe a lot of the other musicians, I think, you know. And after that time, I had Ole Vestergaard call me and said, I could fix a job for you. I could fix a job for you. And that was a 64. He said, I could fix a job for you in Denmark playing for the Danish people. I said, beautiful, beautiful. I would love to do it. He said, but I could only send you one-way fare. Then I said, one-way fare? How am I going to get back? Then I say, what the heck? Let's go. So I got Sonny Murray, Gary Peacock. At that time, Gary Peacock was like, he had fast 15 days with no food, no anything. He would just get up and go to the bathroom. And so when I went over to see him, he was like shriveled up. I looked at him, he smiled, looked at me and smiled. I said, why you do this? I didn't understand at that time. Why you do this, Gary Peacock? Why you do this? He said to me, I must do this. I have dissipated a lot in my life, and you play pure music. This is what he told me. So when we got to the studio, I could understand then, you know. So we made the trio record before going to Europe for Bernard Stolman ESP. We made this one. And then we got on the plane going to Europe with Don Cherry, Sonny Murray, yeah, and myself, you know, and Peacock. So like when we got to Denmark, the people was at that time, they didn't know, you know, if they liked the music or not. So we had a few times it was pretty hard, but it was a few guys. The guy that owned the radio station in Denmark, he was like crazy about me. Like, see, you know, and I could go by his house and just play with his kids and have a good time. So he told the people, he said, this free music will be good. I may not be living, he told them. This beautiful guy, he said, but this free music will be valid one day, like it is now. And that was like a long time ago. So we played the tour, and Sonny Murray had to catch a troop ship back with the troops because he didn't save his money. He mailed his money to his wife and whatnot. But Peacock, he was like, he passed out in Amsterdam. He passed out because he was on only eating rice, autobiotic diet. He was only eating rice, so he passed out in Amsterdam, and he was like laying there, and he had to put a pan of water on his stomach. Pan of water. The reason I'm talking so much about Peacock, because he's like the best bass player that I ever met. When we get together, we just play. We don't even talk. We don't have to talk about it. You know, the other musicians, you have to talk about it some, you know, but we just play, you know. There was nothing to it. So Peacock had to leave Amsterdam going back to the States. So I left Amsterdam going to Denmark. And this is where Sonny caught the troop ship. Then I came back to America, very frustrated, not understanding where everything was going, not understanding anything. All I knew, I loved Charlie Parker. I used to listen to Coltrane in the Army. This is all I knew. All I knew. And when I was small, my father used to have me listen to Illinois Jacket, you know, and Big Red that played with Lionel Hampton. They used to walk down the aisle, the old bit, you know, and I was like very young. So after that, I didn't understand what was happening. I was living pure frustration, like a madman. I was up in my room when I went to Cleveland playing, and I was beating like this on the floor. Then I go downstairs. My mother said to me, I don't think you are my child. When I was in the hospital, the man must have made a mistake and give me the wrong baby. Made me cry. I cried, but I thought, I said, nobody understands what music, what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to understand it. And it was like very shaky situation. So when I play, go back to New York, Arnie Coleman, Cecil Taylor, Eric Dolphy, Sonny Rollins, and all the musicians was sitting around, and Coltrane was playing there that day. So Coltrane started off, remember that? And then Eric Dolphy started playing. And then when I started playing, somebody stood up and said, no, and leave the club. And I couldn't understand it. And then Eric told me, he said, you're the best I ever heard. Stick with what you're doing. Let nobody stop you from what I'm doing. And this is what Earl Gardner told me also in Holland at one day, you know. So after that time, let me get myself together. I'm talking so fast. Yeah. So after that time, it was close to where I played for at Place Playel. When I came with Michelle Sampson, met Michelle Sampson, Bill Falwell. They both was like under 25. Very, they could understand. That's when the new generation was starting in America around that time, you know. And then, from there, when I come here and I play, the whole bit traveling. Funny thing, I was traveling with the Newport Jazz Festival. I was playing last everywhere I would go, but in America, I didn't even know that the people here even knew about it. They knew about the music, what was happening, because I knew the mentality here was much greater than it was in America, because America was like something else. They were only crafty after money and whatnot. They didn't understand. They didn't understand what the music is about. But now they seem to be understanding a little. Yeah. So after that, I went back to the States, and that's when about the Coltrane died. Yeah, about the time Coltrane died. That's the time. Yeah, that's the time that about around that time I met Maria. Then, yeah, when she started writing music for me, and Coltrane, Bob Theo called me and said, Albert, you know something? I said, what? He said, Coltrane is dead. I said, no, you're joking, because he was it's so beautiful. He never did get mad with anybody. And then she said, his last request was for Arnie Coleman and for you to play at his funeral. I said, how could I do that? How could I play crying? His body down there, right? And, died. And we was like upstairs on the top, and they had a big organ. And he was downstairs on the bottom floor. So the day before the funeral, we walked in to see Coltrane. He was like very, very stiff because he was very sick, but he didn't complain to people, which I thought was like very beautiful, because his wife didn't even know it, because they had about 3 kids, and she was so busy watching the kids that she didn't know that he was actually sick at all. So he got so sick at one point, she looked at him, she said, come on, we got to go to the hospital now. And then he was like unconscious then, see? So he said, okay, because he was thin then. But he was with a guy from India. They would pray together. They would sit and pray together for him to be healed of his sickness, whatever it was. I still don't know today exactly what it is, because many people speak many things about his sickness, but nobody really knows exactly what his sickness was. So at the funeral that day, we played Love Cry. Yeah, Bob Theo was in the audience Bob Theo was in the audience, and Arnie Coleman played first, and I played last. I played the Truth Marching In, and I played Love Cry. And then Bob Theo called me in to sign a contract. Then when I signed the contract, everything was a little bit better, because if you sign a contract, see, Sunrise doesn't have a contract with any company. I can't understand why he doesn't have a contract, but he doesn't have a contract. But at that time, that's when I started. Everything started. The ball started moving. Then everything was beautiful. Then everything was beautiful. And from there till now, like, everything was smooth, because I met Maria, and she takes care of writing, talk to people, business, and everything. And I sleep, and I take care of my music. Verstehen? And it's a blessing for me to meet her, because she takes care of everything. I could sleep and rest of all the suffering long time ago. I caught up, so a couple years. Then we had the idea. She had the idea of the Newgrass. Bob Theo wanted me to make the Newgrass album. He said he wanted me to play with a young group for just a couple minutes. They were like equivalent in America to the Beatles in England, see? And I said, no, I would like to stick with my own thing if I can. If I have to play pop music, let me get the men together and play the music, And so he said, okay, it's time for you to make new grass. You have to sing. I said, me sing, like I'm blowing my brains out. I said, okay, I have to sing. So I played in a club in the village. What was the name of that club in the village?
Um, Village Vanguard.
No, when I played in the club, where the C trains were at. The young group.
Oh, that was at.
They had the electric violin. Remember that?
Oh,
Can you
yes.
remember that?
Yes, that was at. That wasn't at the Village Vanguard.
No, it was down the street from that. I can't remember the name of the club.
Yeah.
Can't remember the name of the club, but that's when I started singing. And the first couple of nights, I started getting real hoarse. I said, oh, playing was bad enough, but to sing too. And so it was time for to go in the studio. Then Maria started thinking. She started thinking real hard. She said, well, I'll get it to everybody's moving in a different direction, new different generation, hard love. And she just started writing, going crazy around the house all night long. Then I may thank God for women myself, I may thank God for women myself. So after that, I figured, I said, well, in America, I play pop, I play free, I can play anything. I play a variety of music, so maybe it'll be okay. But it's still, so I say, well, maybe the American people just don't understand. I should have been maybe over here by that time, see? I should have, after I made new grass, I should have maybe been in Europe somewhere around that time. But I say, well, I'm going to give the American people another chance, They deserve that. They deserve another chance. So I stayed, and the next record I made, nothing happened with that. I say, well, shoot, but I still had the contract, and each time I would play, each year the money would double. Each year the money would double, so I wasn't worried. Last year, $10,000, and it was beautiful. We paid off everything. The bills, we had bills, people we owed, and the whole living the complete life of an artist, because I have heard there have been some French composers who have died of starvation with music stacked like that over their heads, Yeah, I heard in Paris. That's what I heard. Some guys would tell me. So I figured, I listened to that. I know this monk took 20 years for him to make it. He had the piano in the kitchen playing all night long, round about midnight, all night long, in the bathroom close to that. I say, well, the artist's life is very hard, so I must adjust myself now, because if it takes him 20 years, and I know men who have died, like Charles Ives, the greatest composer in America, he had never, while he was living, nobody even recognized him at all. And he had to get a different job altogether. I thought that was very bad, because in the last year I heard two conductors, they had over 100 pieces playing one of his compositions. And I thought, but that's the way the life of an artist, and you have to accept it. So that's what I tried to do. But I still had my brother to contend with, who was like a very great artist in his own right. And he was like here, and I was like there, and we trying to talk to each other. But when we talk, he doesn't hear me, and I don't hear him. We just be screaming at each other like the music was. Like the music was. So from there, I guess that'll be good enough for an interview, don't you think? Yeah, that's good enough, huh? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good enough.
Could you tell us now what you think about what Lord Jones says about you in his book, Black Music?
Leroy Jones, what he said, this was actually his own opinion of the music that he heard about it. So it's so. My brother was very mad about what he had said, but I thought it was his opinion, and each man has his own opinion in life. So it's not the point if you respect the opinion or not. It's just there in the book. So I didn't take it for bad or good. I just let it be right in the middle. I didn't take it either way, because I think he's a great man in his own right. Great man in his own right.
Would you like to speak about the piece for John Coltrane? See, there was no drummer, and it was quite special.
Would you say talk a little slower?
Your
For
piece.
John
For
Coltrane, yeah. Well, it was a collaboration of ideas. Bob Thiel, in other words, a tape had been made, and he said, Albert, what will you name this tune? This was after the funeral and everything, see. But it had been made before the funeral, see. Had been made before the funeral. He said, what should we call this? I said, for John Coltrane. Let's say that Joel Friedman on cello. I think that was like it was like very classical, you know, for the music. It was so together, and Maria had a dream about it the day before it happened, see. And I thought that was like very fantastic, and like when it happened, the whole record was like very beautiful, like very beautiful.
About the importance of free jazz from a political or social point of view, see, because in France we're wondering if it's so important for you, see.
You say from a political
or social point of view.
Social point of view. I noticed when I made Spiritual Unity a long time ago, they told the people in what was that at Wales or somewhere, the music was it was very bad, but music has nothing to do with people because it's a natural force, you understand. But America tried to say that it was kind of political, and that it had caused a lot of the riots and whatnot when I was affiliated with Leroy Jones, but that wasn't true at all. That wasn't true at all, and the music was like very, very beautiful. But now I notice the new generation in America, they are free-minded, and they think like the music is, you know, and I've noticed a number of the musicians now, they are playing free music. They have incorporated certain ideas with pop music. See, you know, so I see that the music was like perhaps ahead of its time to a certain extent. It was ahead of its time to a certain extent. I believe in the years to come, it's going to be beautiful. It'll be just like, who could I say, when say a great composer would bring out some music, say here in Europe, and they would say, no, no, no. Then the years to come, it's beautiful. You know, it's like that, you know.
And when we heard for the first time the piece called Bells, see, it seemed very new to us. And I'd like to know, how did the idea came to you?
The idea came about, we was practicing in my aunt owns a number of apartments in America, see, and we was playing, and the idea was actually my brother's idea. Yeah, that was his idea to do that, because at that time, like, I was like kind of tired of the whole situation. He was like of the new generation coming with new ideas, and he had that march type feeling. He had that march type feeling, so it was his idea. It wasn't mine, truthfully. This is what nobody knows. That's right. Yeah, Bells was his idea altogether. Then I put in the intricate parts in between to carry it over. Da 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 da. Yeah, that part was my idea, but the beginning was my brother's idea to give that you know, that march type feeling. Yeah. And Spirit Rejoice was my idea by me living here in France for a couple of years, you know. That kind of stuck in my mind, you know, and I thought of the idea of Spirit Rejoice from being here, you know, and playing in Paris and whatnot. I remember a number of things, so I say I'll try to incorporate certain things in the music, maybe that will help the people to understand more, even, you know. Yeah. What do you mean? To when I make a record, to have more than one bass? Yeah. Well, I think I think now I would prefer to have two drummers, because they get very tired when I play. You know, they get very tired when I play. So in the future, perhaps I'll have one bass, the Fender bass, and I have two drummers and the piano in the background. I think that's good enough for me. But I was felt very bad because my bagpipes was like broke for the job, you know. Yeah, and I was very tired. And I should have gone to see about it, but I was very tired, so we had to sleep, huh?
From the trip.
From the trip, yeah. Yeah, because that bagpipes is like Like it's very beautiful music when you could hear a number of bagpipes going at the same time. You could hear another kind of music altogether, you know?
Like Masonic Inborn.
Yeah, that's right.
Part 1.
Yeah, Masonic
Our
Inborn.
music is the healing force of the universe. Albert played the bagpipes. And yes, the title of the composition is Masonic Inborn Part 1. And perhaps in the future, Albert will do Masonic Inborn Part 2.
Absolutely.
We certainly
Absolutely.
hope so, because Part 1 I thought was very beautiful.
The Part 1, the Part 2 a little bit better, because the Part 1 was pretty good. See, I overdub. They have an overdubbing thing. Like I know the English people are very fantastic with sound equipment and whatnot, because Newgrass was done at a guy from English guy from England. This is what Bob Theo had us go to play the new equipment, the newest thing. That's why we made that, and it gave a very good sound effect, you know. So I think next time, you know, I notice everything is getting better. The equipment for the music, I think perhaps the free music had something to do with that also. You understand what I'm saying? The equipment and everything is becoming more perfected. But I noticed, like when I was in Finland, when I was playing at the Newport Jazz Festival of Europe, I walked into a club and the girl was singing. She could whisper, and it was just like that. The sound was so beautiful. The equipment that you have in Europe, they don't have the equipment in America because they don't listen like you listen here. See, and this is the big difference. This is a big difference. You know, that's why it's a pleasure for us to like be here and play. Like we listen to the tape back, everything is clear. You can hear the drummer real crystal clear. Everything is beautiful because you have a sense of listening. It's a power of a mental power also, you know, of listening. But the people in America, they don't have it, but they're getting there slowly. And I can't understand why it should be like that, but it is like that, and I can't, you know.
You tell us why you change very often your musicians and your orchestrations.
I think at different times in your life you feel different things as like developing as an artist. You know, like from something different, the first record I made that's on Sonnet now, you feel different things at different times. And when it's time for a record to be made, I'll practice with a certain musician to see if he can feel somewhat what I could feel, if I could use him for the date. And if okay, I'll use him, but if not, I'll move around to different musicians, because I believe music could never be with one steady group all the time. You have to have different people to help you make the music for it to be new music. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I believe that all music must have the roots, like of Louis Armstrong, must have rhythmic truth. This is the most important thing, because I know some of the people that so-called play avant-garde, they're just making sound, but must still have that rhythm there to really say that it's really part of what's happening, because I love rhythm just like Louis Armstrong and Coltrane, you know, and whatnot. That's the part that I'm saying. This rhythm must be there for you to really feel it. You gotta get right into that feeling. But if it just sound just moving like that, you gotta feel the rhythm to appreciate it. Yeah, that's all. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know, if there's no rhythm, heck, you know, that's good, huh?
Rotterdam. Speak up, please.
Okay.
Hello, Albert Ayler.
Hello.
You speak with Paul Karting from Rotterdam, Holland.
Huh?
You speak with Paul Karting from Rotterdam, Holland.
Rotterdam. Okay.
Yeah. Lee Bridges was here in Holland. You know him?
Yeah.
And he asked if I can arrange some club dates.
Club dates, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I can inform you that I get 3 club dates on November the 6th.
Wait, you have to talk loud. I can't hear you too good.
Yeah. I arranged 3 club dates.
Yes.
On the November 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. That's for 6th, 7th, and 8th of November in Holland. That's $110 a concert. And then on the 9th of November.
Well, what about the week? I thought it was supposed to be for the week.
That's impossible here in Holland because there's not so many interest for a club date for 1 week. So I can only
I see.
arrange small club dates for concerts.
There's no club dates. It's possible not to book in Amsterdam. Can you book for
No,
Amsterdam?
they can't do it because the interest for jazz is too small.
Oh, I see.
So
Well, how many club dates could you have? What'd you say now?
I can arrange 3 club dates
Yeah.
for 3 days and 1 radio broadcast for $200. So 3 club dates for $110 a date and 1 radio broadcast for $200.
Well, how can we get there to play them?
I will send you the 3 tickets from Copenhagen to Rotterdam by
For
by
4
train.
tickets. 4 tickets. It's
Oh,
4
4
of us.
tickets, sorry, yeah.
Yes,
And
Send me the contracts tomorrow here, okay?
tomorrow,
Yes, I'll sign them. Send them. We leave here on the Saturday, so send them before Saturday, okay?
okay.
Stockholm.
To,
Well, look, you don't have any no week jobs, huh?
No, that's impossible here.
Impossible.
Yeah,
I
it's
see.
impossible. That's also impossible for Dutch musicians because
I
they
see.
pay only for one quartet about $25 per Dutch quartet. So
Okay.
that's impossible.
Well, I
But-
see. Well, see if you could book some like for $210, say maybe 5 or 6 nights
Yeah,
in a row where we could come. See?
Yeah. But what do you think about these 3 concerts and 1 radio broadcast?
Okay.
Is
3
that okay?
concerts. How much for the radio broadcast?
$200.
$200, I
Yeah.
see.
Is that nice?
And 200 for each club date, huh?
How much?
And 200 for each club.
No,
210.
110. Lee said $110 for a club date. That's the price they can't pay. They can't pay anymore.
Okay. Well, send me the contract then, okay?
Okay, to Circle Club.
Yes,
Okay.
Okay,
to you.
bye.
That's okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Waar?
Juffrouw, wat waren de kosten?
4 maal 1,90 gulden.
Juffrouw, vriend bedankt. Goedenavond.